Most people think that blood transfusions are a great thing and can save lives. But you rarely hear about the dark side, which is extensive. In fact, statistically, if you have an accident or major blood loss or have a severe anemia, you have a greater chance of dying if you get a blood transfusion than if you avoided it. Now, I'm down by the beachside today, so it's a bit windy and there's a lot of ocean noise in the background as well. Forgive me for that. We'll get into it. So there was a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It was run on anemia patients in the ICU and compared the mortality rates of those receiving or not receiving blood transfusions, with the patients getting a blood transfusion much more likely to die within the following 28 days. There was another study published in the New England Journal of Medicine where they gave everyone a blood transfusion, but one group had transfusions when the hemoglobin concentrations fell under 9 grams per decilitre, and the other group waited longer until the levels fell to 7 grams, with both groups maintaining the range 2 grams above the low point. The group who got the higher levels had the higher mortality. A study in the Critical Care Medicine Journal studied the amount of blood transfusions given to patients and found that the more transfusions they had meant increased complications, longer hospital stays, and higher rates of deaths. Other studies have been done to test the effectiveness of transfusions for other conditions, including burns, heart surgeries, trauma, acute coronary syndromes, and more, and all found blood transfusions were killing people at higher rates. There was also a study published in the Transfusion Journal which investigated the long-term survival rates of people who underwent a blood transfusion. They monitored participants for up to 10 years and found that 24% of patients died within 1 year, 30% within 2 years, 40% within 5 years, and 52% of people who got a blood transfusion died within 10 years. Blood transfusions have been studied so vigorously that whichever angle you look at it from, the evidence is clear that you're more likely to die from getting one compared to not getting one. But the doctors shout, "Blood transfusions save lives." Well, they're shouting this because they make a lot of money from it, as do the hospitals. They increase hospital stay lengths, require further treatments, and turn the patient into a long-term customer, as if they do survive, they're often sick for life. So why are blood transfusions so deadly? Well, first of all, the blood is dirty. It's full of someone else's bacteria, foreign proteins, infectious agents, spirochetes, parasites, funguses, and other pathogens. So your body immediately gets a flood of new critters to fight against, of which many they may have never seen before. What if the donor has particular particles in their blood that the patient's allergic to? They often do. What if a person receives blood from the opposite sex? There was an interesting study published in JAMA which found that men given blood from a woman who was previously pregnant were likely to be dead within 3 years, due to the blood containing a particular antibody that women make when they're pregnant. In fact, antibodies and antigens are a huge problem, and they're noted for causing many of the deaths from blood transfusions. The recipient's antibodies can attack the donor blood, and the donor's antibodies can not only attack the recipient's blood, but also attack their bodily tissues. The donor's blood also contains many chemicals which they consumed preceding the blood donation. A study published in the Journal of Pharmaceutical and Biomedical Analysis found that blood used for blood transfusions was chock full of dangerous pharmaceutical drugs and even caffeine. In fact, 72% of samples had Xanax, potentially highlighting that most of the people who donate blood are drug users and other undesirables, donating blood in exchange for money to get their next hit. Other foreign substances found in blood for transfusions include cigarette smoke residue, herbicides, pesticides, and cleaning chemicals. You don't know what the blood donor was doing with their life, and you also don't know about their sexual or other preferences. We know that in organ transplants, the recipient can inherit things like a sudden change in favourite foods to match that of the donor, or maybe even a desire for the same partner. Yes, if a man gets an organ donated from a woman, he can turn gay and start liking men, just like the woman did. Although I haven't heard reports of this yet with blood, it's very common with organ transplants. And blood is a liquid organ, so you may start liking the same things that your donor did. Let's not forget about medical error, one of the leading causes of death in the world. You could be given the wrong blood type, incompatible blood, blood which was improperly stored, improperly prepared blood, or blood which was externally contaminated. You see, blood is not stored as blood. They separate the components because different parts of the blood require different storage temperatures and different conditions. Chemicals like ethanol are used in the cleaning process, and other chemicals are used as preservatives like citrate, dextrose, phosphate, and more recently, adenine, which is acutely toxic and has been shown to cause convulsions, muscle weakness, and lung damage. Excuse the pun, but it's bloody dangerous to get a blood transfusion. It's just not pure, and the death and illness rates following a transfusion are sky high. It's good to hear that for elective surgeries, they're now training doctors to be able to perform bloodless surgeries. And for other situations, including diseases, illnesses, or accidents, there are actually alternative solutions to using blood as a replacement. To learn more about these safer alternatives to blood transfusions, please visit my website at healthglade.com. Hi, this is Adam from Healthglade. If you enjoyed this video and want more health-related content that you won't hear anywhere else, please follow our social media channels. But our content is highly controversial and Big Brother often takes down our pages. So also join our mailing list at healthglade.com, and when it happens we'll email you links to the new ones. Our videos are not copyrighted, so you can help by downloading them and re-uploading to your channels. Thanks for watching, and if you know anyone who will benefit from this content, please drop a like and share it with them.